So, coming from Reuters, OpenAI leans toward waiting until next year for their IPO. So, I think this is a very interesting story with basically the fundamental question being, can AI survive a down round? So, what we're talking about with a down round, normally when you're talking about startup companies, is basically every time startup companies go out for another round of investment, the idea is the next round should value their startup company at a higher valuation than the previous round, right? So you go out there for the angel investment and you get valued at $10 million. And then you go out for the next round of investment and you get valued at $100 million. You go out for the next round of investment, you get valued at $1 billion, all the way up into $1 trillion valuation, apparently, in the modern world, right? That is how it is supposed to work. One of the problems you can run into, though, is after a startup has run out of money, so they've run out of what is called their runway, they go out to do another round of investment, and basically the investors look at their company and they simply don't think it is valued at what it was previously valued at, right? So their previous valuation was $1 billion. Investors look at the startup company and they're saying, well, I am interested in the company. I like the founders, blah, 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 blah. I just don't think you're currently at a $1 billion valuation, much less a $2 billion valuation. So we will put money into your company. We will buy equity in your company for, let's say, $800 million. And the problem is when that occurs, investors then have to start looking at your company and they start having to reassess for themselves what your company is worth. And one of the problems that you can run into is when you get a down round, that can essentially be the death knell for the startup company. It's not that the company doesn't have a good product, doesn't mean that they don't have a product market fit, doesn't mean that they don't have a road to profitability. But again, investors want to buy low, sell high. If they look at the last round, investors bought in at a $1 billion valuation, and now investors are looking to buy in at an $800 million valuation. One of the things the investors are looking at is like, well, the value of this company is going down. Do I even want to mess with it? There are so many companies I could invest in right now. Why do I want to invest in a startup company that looks like it might be having problems? And that's where everything can go to hell in the startup world because, again, in the startup world, this has nothing to do with profitability or revenue or solving problems or any of that kind of crap anymore. It has more to do with like gut instinct. I've talked about that. So I was wandering around the startup world years ago, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. My poor aspid brain was in the startup world, trying to figure out what was going on. And I still remember I was sitting there and I was talking to there was a group of founders and investors and the whole nine yards. And I got them into the corner like a good Aspie will. And I'm like, I need to understand startup valuation. And finally, one of the startup founders looked at me. I was also an investor and said, "Yeah, we do just kind of pull this out of our ass." Quote. I was like, "What?" And he was like, well, yeah. I mean, you look at a company, with everything that you know, and you think, oh, this company should be valued at $10 million. You look at another company with everything you know, oh, this company should be worth $100 million. And then, like, every month, it was like 10 people. Everyone's like, yeah, more or less. They all sat there. They're like, there's a little bit more to it. But not a lot more. Let's be honest, not a lot more. And that's where valuations come from. And so one of the problems you have is when you have a down round, right? Everybody has to reassess what they value your company, what it should be. And then a lot of people kind of just get the yips. They're like, I don't know. We put in money with the last round. We were expecting to do follow-on investment, but now that this down round has happened, I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about this company anymore. Let's just hold off. And the problem is, again, with a startup company, it's called a runway. It's called a runway for a reason. If you get to the end of it and you have not gotten into the air, you crash into the trees. Startup companies cannot survive investors going, give us a minute here, right? Then you're gonna hit in trees. So one of the things I think is kind of interesting with this whole startup or this whole AI lunacy that we've been dealing with for a while now is just the valuations are so stupidly high, right? There was a concept of the unicorn. So I think dudes believe it's like 2012. TechCrunch came up with the concept of the unicorn. These were startup companies that were worth over $1 billion without going public. And there were so few of them at the time. I think there were 12 of them, something like that at the time. They were considered unicorns because they were so rare. 1 billion was considered a unicorn. And then, time goes by. So that's when they came up with the decacorns. Decacorns are unicorns, basically worth $10 million. I do believe I came up with the concept last year. I don't believe it's even been a year. I wish I had the time to go back and look at the crap that I actually did say, like in previous videos. I do believe it was last fall where I came up with the concept of Stupicorns. Stupicorns were startup companies worth $100 billion. Because back then, not even a year ago, do believe it was about 9 months ago, I was screaming about how stupid this was, where again, basically all of this investment money being driven into these AI companies, getting their valuations above $100 billion just doesn't make sense because we have no idea what market consensus looks like as to what the value of these artificial intelligence companies can be, right? If you get a lot of investors together, they all get tunnel vision, they all get into groupthink, they can rise the valuation of one of these companies up to the stratosphere. But the problem is, at some point, there has to be an exit. At some point, whether the exit is an acquisition or whether the exit is an IPO, there has to be an exit. If you get the value of a startup company to $1 trillion or whatever else, it simply becomes too expensive for anybody else to buy. Like it cannot be an acquisition target simply because it's too damn expensive. And if you get the value of these companies up to again to the $1 trillion point, one of the questions is once it hits the public market, how comfortable are the average everyday investors going to be with this? I've talked about this before with Alibaba. I do believe Alibaba was like $169 billion IPO, and that was the largest IPO in U.S. history. There was the Saudi Aramco, but that was over in Saudi Arabia. U.S. history, $169 billion was the largest IPO in history. And now we have these startup companies, right, trying to go out there at $1 trillion valuation. And one of my big questions with all of this is, at what point do the valuations get so astronomically high that you almost get to a point where it can't succeed? Because you can't go down because too many investors have put too much money into your company, and you can't go up because there's just not enough market appetite for your company. What happens at that point in time? And that's what's interesting right now with OpenAI. And so there's a real push for OpenAI to IPO at that $1 trillion valuation. What we've heard of from before is the CFO of OpenAI has basically said they're not in the position to IPO at this point in time. Basically, the story when you IPO, what is the story that you're trying to sell to your investors? You're not really selling equity to your investors. You're really selling a story. And OpenAI's story is a wee bit weird, right? What is their product differentiator? Where is their moat? The whole 9 yards. There's a whole bunch of questions on that. So the CFO has been trying to push off their IPO till 2027, whereas Sam Altman, right? Sam Altman competing with Elon Musk, because apparently everybody competes with Elon Musk right now, really wants to IPO in 2026. And what it seems like it's come down to is the main issue is that $1 trillion valuation. And so what they're saying is if they IPO in 2026, they most likely have to pull the IPO to below a $1 trillion valuation. And what Sam Altman has come out and said is and this is concerning, that is a non-starter. Think about when you have a technology company like OpenAI and the CEO literally comes out and states they cannot IPO at below a $1 trillion valuation. That That is a statement right there, my friends. We go over, we take a look at this. OpenAI is considering holding off on its public debut until next year. The New York Times reported on Thursday, citing three people involved with the company's deliberations. The AI startup, which has confidentially filed for a U.S. initial public offering, is targeting a valuation of up to $1 trillion. Reuters has reported, adding Chief Financial Officer Sarah Fryer has told some associates the company is aiming for a 2027 listing. And that seems to be what she's been pushing for a while. Which honestly, if I'm going to trust any executive at OpenAI, I'm probably going to trust somebody other than Sam Altman as to where OpenAI currently is. OpenAI's advisors presented company executives with the option of waiting until 2027 to go public with a $1 trillion valuation or lower the targeted valuation for a quicker listing, the New York Times said. CEO Sam Altman responded that any change to the trillion-dollar valuation was a non-starter. Non-starter. Basically, they cannot accept anything lower than a trillion-dollar valuation. And when you look at the amount of investment that OpenAI has been putting into their infrastructure, we talk about things like $300 billion 5-year contracts with Oracle, everything else they're building out, as I've talked about many times before. OpenAI's worldview, as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, is it's all about the resources. The more compute you have, the more data you have, the more AI you have. Right? That is their viewpoint. That is the mantra that they're going by. So they are continuously just dumping money into building their infrastructure. They've already gotten about $150 billion of investment. That brought them to an $850 billion valuation that closed, I don't know, a few months ago at this point in time. And so basically what it's looking like here is that they have to have a $1 trillion IPO essentially in order to stay solvent. Can you imagine if you're a startup founder and you have a runway, and in order to get your startup off the fucking runway, you have to hit a $1 trillion valuation? I mean, that's some ballsy stuff right there. And then the big question comes up is, what if they can't hit that $1 trillion valuation? So if they push their IPO out of 2026, right? We will have already seen a lot of movement in the AI market. Right now, SpaceX has already IPO'd. They're sitting at about $2 trillion right now. As of me talking, they're at about $160 a share. They IPO'd at $135 a share, shot up to $225 a share, shot down to $150 a share. They're right around $160 a share right now. So basically, if you give it another 6 months, the market is going to come to some kind of equilibrium on what they feel the value of SpaceX should be as an AI company. And there's a good possibility the value is going to sink down. It's going to get lower. Anthropic has already filed to IPO, so if they IPO before the end of the year, that will be another company that is IPO'd. You already have Google selling $80 billion of equity that they own on the open market to invest into the AI world. You have Meta, you know, doing what Meta does. I think they're gonna sell like $30 billion of equity to, I don't know, do something with it and call it AI. We have all the Chinese models and all of that kind of stuff coming down the pike. And when I look at it, as I've argued many times before, I am not anti-AI. I'm not anti-vector databases. I'm not anti-neural networks. These valuations are just abjectly stupid. And so if you go out another 7 months, let's say, how does that put OpenAI in a good position within the AI market? I just have a lot of questions about that. And so if they can't hit their $1 trillion valuations, right? 1 trillion is a non-starter. Basically what that means, if they don't hit 1 trillion, they're dead. That's the statement. If it's a non-starter, that means if you don't hit 1 trillion, you're dead. And then the really interesting question will be, what happens when OpenAI implodes? I think we're just going down that route. because none of these numbers make sense. Like I'm looking this back of the napkins. I'm not Ed Zitron. Oh my gosh, Jesus Christ, Ed Zitron. Oh man, I thought that guy was a cryptocurrency at one point. I was like, how many Zitrons are in an Ed? I just started getting comments about Ed Zitron in my comment section a few months ago. Literally to the point, I almost banned the words Ed Zitron because I swear to God, I thought it was a cryptocurrency. But here's the thing, right? I know Ed comes out all these very specific numbers about marketing spends and this and that and the other. And the argument that I would make with this, and something to think about in the real world of technology, is you don't need precise numbers most of the time. You don't need things down to the decimal point to understand how absurd certain things are. You simply look at it. You simply look at what the CEOs are actually saying. You look at the basics of what's going on, and you can get an idea of where things are going. And yeah, I think with OpenAI, I think they're going into the dumpster fire from hell, would be my argument. What do you think happens there? What do you think when OpenAI blows up? Think about all the infrastructure that they've been trying to build out. Think about all their contracts, right? Oracle has a $300 billion contract with OpenAI. What happens if OpenAI goes the way of WeWork? Just that hyper scaled. What does that do to Oracle? What does that do to Oracle? What does that do to NVIDIA? What does that do to so many other companies out there? I will be interested to see where this goes. As I've been talking about, look, I use technology every day. I play with projects. I do a whole bunch of different stuff. And I mean, day by day, the value of artificial intelligence becomes ever more questionable to me. At least this, not automation, not automation. Automation is the goose that laid the golden egg. But automation really isn't AI. AI can be a component of automation, but it's not the whole thing. And I keep looking at this, and I just don't. I don't see where we're going with this whole AI revolution. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Sam Altman basically coming out and saying if they don't hit a $1 trillion IPO, they be dead. They be dead. What do you think about the AI industry hitting a down round? Can they survive a down round? What are the ramifications if they can't? And what do you think about just in general? OpenAI waiting till 2027 in order to IPO. Do you think that's a wise idea? Anyways, put your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you like these videos, do remember they're on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. Also, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.